touchdown drives. What is the noticeable difference between where he is now and where he was last year at the end of the game?
I just think that, having gone through an NFL season and then having gone through an OTA minicamp as a starter, getting the reps that he's had, he just has grown into the position, has tremendous confidence, and he just shows me great composure when he's on the field.
Like 2 straight games on the passing game out of Charles Clay, what you saw in the last 2 weeks, how encouraging are you with what he's done in that role that you carved out for him?
He's really done some really nice things in the passing game, but in this last ball game, we really challenged him to be a better blocker, and he really contributed in the run blocking and also as a pass blocker. There was an early pass, it might have been the first pass to Mike Wallace that they blitzed us, and he stepped up and made a huge protection block for us in the A-gap that allowed us an opportunity to make that play. We just had a meeting and watched that play, and I said, Clay, I know you think you made bigger plays in the game than stepping up on that pass protection, but in my mind that was one of the biggest plays we made because it allowed us an opportunity to score on our first drive. So he's definitely playing with a lot of confidence right now and has come into his own and doing things without any hesitation. I would say in the past maybe he wasn't 100% sure what he's doing, but he's believing in himself, and he's playing with some confidence.
I know you told us last week you don't throw to numbers, but it seemed that Mike Wallace got integrated very early in this game. Was that just by design, or what were they giving you?
Well, sometimes coverage dictates certain things. If there was a certain coverage or technique by a corner, Mike wouldn't have got certain balls that he got. And, for instance, that screen was set up for Mike if he had the right look, and if he didn't have the right look, it was going to go to the other side. So it's all predicated on what the defense is doing and sometimes who's doing it. And I would say what I said last week is the same thing is true. We don't really just force balls to anybody. It's predicated on coverage, technique, tendencies, and sometimes who's going against who.
Mike, the bubble screen to Wallace, that was the touchdown. Was that executed about perfectly?
It was, and again, like I said, if we had thrown it to the other side, it was there on both sides. We had it on both sides, and but yes, Claybo came out. Clay actually set it up and blocked the edge player, the outside corner. Claybo came down and really did a nice job on the number 2 player to the inside. Pouncey collected I believe it was the safety downfield, and Mike did a really nice job of utilizing his blockers and getting the ball not 1 yard short of the end zone, but into the end zone. So did a real good job on the screen. It was very well executed. It's probably we haven't executed that well in practice, so it's nice to see it done in the game.
What was the difference in the running game yesterday as opposed to last week?
I don't know. You go week to week. I've seen that happen before, where 1 week it's just not gelling and everybody's kind of discombobulated, and then the next week everything's just in sync. I still think we could have done a better job. We only rushed for 100 yards, and I think I probably could have rushed the ball more with more. I should have rushed it more than I did. But I thought the linemen really came off the ball. We had a very simple package running the football, and maybe the simplicity in itself enhanced their ability to execute the plan.
I'd like just to follow up on that, specifically with Lamar, both on the touchdown run and on the big 3rd and 8 run. As opposed to last year as a rookie, it just seemed like he was much more decisive, made the right reads. Is that kind of one area that you noticed?
Yeah. I thought on the touchdown run in particular, he was very decisive on that one. On the third down run to ice the ball game, I thought he kind of hesitated a little bit at the end and did decide, because we have a play where, if you get the first down and we can take time off the clock, then we want to do that. And I think he was deciding whether he got the first down or not. He just needed to make a move on the guy, maybe get a couple of yards. A little bit too close for comfort right there. Yeah, he seemed very comfortable in the game, more so than the week before.
Can you take us through the decision-making process to go through it, go for it on 4th and 1 at the 39? Was that something you and Joe were talking about, if you got close to something like that?
Well, Coach Philbin talks about those things 2 days in advance, actually, about it when if we're in this situation, we go through all the situations in our game management plan. And he had told me previous to the game that if we were in a situation very similar to that situation, that on the road in that environment against that quarterback and that offense, that we were more than likely than less likely to go for it on 4th down. I probably would elect a different avenue than what I chose, but to go for it on 4th down after having not made it. But it was less than a foot, so I thought we had a good chance to get it, but we didn't. So better play would have been better there.
Can you talk a little bit about Charles Clay and as the H-back, all the things that are put on his plate? I mean, now you've got him carrying the ball. Obviously, he's a former fullback. But how difficult is that for a young player to learn all those things?
When I came into the National Football League, I came in as a tight end coach, and I felt I felt it was a great position to come in as, because you had to learn so much. And I was with Mike Holmgren in Green Bay to start in my first job. And I always advise young coaches, if you have a chance to come into the National Football League, you always want to start as a tight end coach, because you have to learn everything in the offense. Well, the same is true for the tight end as well as the tight end coach. So Charles Clay has to learn pass protection. He has to learn now as a runner. Hopefully we'll employ him a little bit more and some other opportunities as well. He has to be a blocker, a route runner. He's out in space. We missed a pass to him out there by the numbers early in the game, but we should have completed that pass. There's a lot of things he's doing in the passing game that receivers do. So there's a lot on his plate. There's a lot of blocking elements that he has as a fullback, as a tight end, as an H-back. So there is a lot to do. I'll say this, though, Dan Campbell, and I'm not just saying this, I mean this, he is one heck of a tight end coach, and no job is too big when I say, can we handle this? Yep, we'll get it done, and he gets it done. So I have to credit Charles, obviously, for ultimately getting it done on the field, but he's well prepared when he goes out there, because Dan does a great job with those kids.
How much
Two more, guys.
progress is the pass blocking with Daniel and Lamar? How much work needs to be done?
It's improved. It still has a ways to go, but I thought it was better in this game. They were challenged a little bit. I thought Daniel had a really nice one. He really stepped up in and squared up on a guy. It's getting there. It's not quite where we need it to be just yet, but it's getting closer.
Any more?
More,
Last
Mike,
one?
we saw more snaps for Deion Sims on Sunday. Was that just a function of how the game played out, or something you guys saw in practice last week you want to get him more involved?
Well, he come down with a little bit of an injury last week in practice, so, and he was more healthy this week. And the package of him being on the field was just something we were going to employ more this week than we did last week. So it just so happened. There was nothing. There was no special reasons for that other than